I wish I knew exactly when I'm actually rolling, but anyways. What's up, guys? So, I was randomly looking for ideas for stuff to write essays about. Like, I was like, essay topics for students, because I realized it's been a long time since I actually wrote an essay or really wrote in general. And the only times I would write anything was when I would pick up my journal and then write about me, my thoughts, my experiences. But then I said, how about if I become a little more opinionated? And I finally decided to look for some topics and I found that one and I said, this is a thing. There there's been a time when it's been questioned or wondered whether the voting age should be lowered. So I'm just going to share my initial impressions because I think it's interesting. I would have never considered that. And hi, Jimmy, I saw you. Um, but my answer is, of course, no, because I think about how I was when I was 13 and how my peers were when we were 13. And none of us were politically savvy to even be considering making decisions like that. You know, when you're voting, you're pretty much voicing your opinion on what you think should be implemented, who you think should make decisions for you, and, where they stand, and whether they're lying about it or not. You just never know. But to me, it's just crazy that we are considering that children have the capacity to be involved on that level nationally. I know there are kids out there who, from a very young age, they are able to understand certain aspects of math that I to this day do not get. And they are just apt at so many things. But when it comes to politics, when it comes to policies, when it comes to laws and stuff like that, I would not entrust children with making decisions like that, Like, I don't want to say that children's voices do not matter because children have come up with good stuff. But at the same time, when you look at the grand scale of it, like the entire country being involved and everything, I do not think that they can truly digest every single aspect of what it means to be voting, the effects of voting, actually, and how the stuff that they're voting on affects them. Like when I was in school and we would do mock elections, I always pretty much picked a name for fun. Sometimes I picked the name of the person who I thought had a pretty name, or I thought had, I don't know, pretty hair or something. I was not focusing on the matters at hand. That was me at age 13. I'm not saying that I'm indicative of how everyone else is, but I just understand that our attention span and focus on things just vary. So to be saying that from age 18, which I remember when I was 18, I wasn't exactly the most educated person when it comes to politics, but I was trying to get involved. I was off during that time, so I was watching the elections, Obama versus Mitt Romney and stuff for 2012. That's around the time that I became of voting age, and elections were happening. So I got involved, and to tell you the truth, there was more stuff that I wasn't understanding than the stuff that I was actually understanding. But the little bit that I did understand, I was like, okay, I'll let this guide me into making my decision. But to actually say that not 17-year-olds, not 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, and all of those ages that I just mentioned can vote. It's like, no, I'm sorry, but most of us were not concentrated like that. The only thing this would be effective, maybe, is if somehow the education system implemented a focus on social studies that would make us more informed as to what's happening in the country and what it means to be voting on certain issues. But trust me, the way that my education was going, the pacing of my school district, we weren't focusing on that type of thing. So that's what worries me, that people are going to go out there, young kids are going to go out there and make decisions that they are not truly ready for. But like I said, I'm not saying every single 13-year-old has their mind set on, I don't know, toys, you know? But what I'm saying is that most of us are just not prepared around that age given modern education. So let me see what my boy Jimmy is saying. No way should anyone under the age of 20 be voting, not in today's American society. They're largely way too ignorant of history, economics, etc., etc. They will tend to vote how their friends do. Exactly, that too. You know, when I was 13, a lot of my decisions were actually influenced by peers. I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes I would see them doing stuff that I thought was cool, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get involved with that too in my own way. So it's not really because I knew what it meant to them to be doing some stuff. It's because I looked at it, I said, that looks nice or that looks fun. So I would try it. It's not because the idea just was born from within me and I decided to roll with it. See what I mean? So, yeah, good point. I liked how you worded that. I have a friend who thinks only property owners should be voting because they have actual real world knowledge of economics, economies, how economies work, and they're actually invested in what policies do. Well, what I would tell that friend is, how did this person obtain their property? Because if it was inherited, I'm sorry, but I am not impressed by that accomplishment. You were handed stuff. You did not have to work for it. You did not have to build it. It was handed down to you. Just because you have that privilege doesn't mean that you actually understand what's happening. I'm pretty sure you're stuck in a bubble of protection because you have not had to go out there and experience the challenges and just the whole process of coming about having property, Because I know for me, the little stuff that I own, I had to work for that shit hard, you know? So, but it's crazy. That reminds me of another video topic that I have coming soon, and it's gonna be about celebrities. And I don't know if you guys are aware of the ridiculous junk that Kanye West be saying nowadays, but I think we have high expectations of them, which in a sense we should because they're members of society, but at the same time we put them in like this pedestal of this person is successful, therefore they just are complete experts in every field of life, and I'm like, no, take it easy. No, I think I'm awesome, but I know that I'm not good at a lot of things. And I love to admit that because, you should admit that. You should not claim to have knowledge and expertise on something that, you just have not realistically gone through the process of to claim such abilities. So I don't know. People are crazy. Oh, I agree with inherited property. In his case, he worked long and hard and he didn't like what he was seeing with taxes and regulations going up and up. This would be a great coffee shop discussion. I agree. This is the type of stuff that I think everyone should be talking about because especially with so much entertainment and distractions out there, we ain't having conversations like we're supposed to. Important things, serious things, how this affects us and the future and those who will come about for the future, the women and children, the men and children or excuse me, the men and women who will be grown in the future. That's what I'm trying to say. So, what will be left for them if we, during our current times, are completely ignorant as time passes and stories are not being told and lessons are not being taught? That shit gets lost. And then eventually you'll have to really do some digging around to find the information that's important because now the world is just cluttered with so much useless information, and that's what worries me. So that's why I like to sometimes kick back and bring up topics like this to see how you guys are thinking, if you guys even consider it, because I know that a lot of people out there just don't. And to me, that's kind of sad. And I guess that's why my social activity is kind of limited because people's focuses differ from mine. It doesn't, really bother me because people can do with their life what they want, but it would be nice to find someone to have stuff to discuss with in common, you know? But anyways, you guys, those are my thoughts. That was pretty random. I'm glad that I uh, had an opinion on it that I felt like sharing because I never would have thought that someone out there considered this as a thing. I feel like during my history classes, something used to be entrusted to children, and I'm like, why? But then again, a coworker told me of this one book. It's called Centuries of Childhood by, I think his name is Paul Aries or something. It's a really good book from the intro that I have read and the synopsis of it. So if I find myself with the real copy, I'll check it out and read it and maybe do a review on it. But it's interesting because what he was telling me was that at some point, kids were ready for a lot of things. And nowadays, when you compare a child from the modern days versus a child from centuries ago, things are super incredibly different. And some differences, not all differences, are for the better. So that's what really piqued my curiosity, and I cannot wait to get my hands on that. I cannot believe that I'm saying that I want to read a book, but I'm gonna try. I'm really going to try to initiate that exec execution of that function because yeah, it's gonna be a while. So do not look forward to that in the near future. But I'm really gonna try to check out a book and read it. All right, guys. Books are the best. They just take time. Exactly. I just read kind of just slowly. Like, not only, well, how can I put this? Depending on the complexity of the material, it may take me long to read through something. But if something is like an what they call an easy read, yeah, I can breeze through that. But some things I like to really um, immerse myself into, look up the definitions and history of some words and understand the context better. So maybe that's the part of me that makes me say that I'm not good with books because I just take too insanely long. My knowledge is limited on a lot of things. I gotta admit it. So I just want to, while I'm at it, make good use of it. So, anyways, hey, Mr. Man. Well, guys, I appreciate the few folks who were present for this, and let me know your thoughts in the comments as always. I'll be back super soon. See ya. Are you gonna pause? Yes, yes, yes.